For the better part of the last decade, Venom has seen a surge in popularity that was unheard of for his character since, I want to say, like the late 90s.
Yeah, Donny Cates Venom run totally reimagined and reinvented the character on a scale that we haven't seen in decades. But guys, today we're going to be looking at this run, specifically the pros and cons, and what went wrong since then.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Thomas.
I'm Merlin.
Together we're the Comic Lads, and today we are talking all about Venom by Donny Cates.
Guys, before we get into it, we want to hear from you. In question of the week, have you read this run? Me personally, this is a recent read for me. I had heard of it back in the day, but I only just got into it now. Have you guys read it back then? Have you read it more recently?
Let us know in the comments down below. And before we get into it, make sure to drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already.
Become one with the
Clintar Lads?
Planet of the Lads?
Symbi Lads.
Let's just cut our losses and move on. There are a multitude of different points that we want to go over on what made this run so special.
Before Donny Cates took over, Venom was just such a complicated and mess of an idea. It's not going to be on Eddie anymore because Eddie has cancer. We're going to give it to like Angelo Fortunato, and then like it's going to go on Scorpion for fucking 10 years. And then Flash too, which was cool, but it's not like the Venom that we all know and love and remember from the cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, it reminds me of that quote from Austin Powers. The symbiote's the village bicycle. Everyone's had a ride. You know what I mean?
I thought you were gonna say it's lost its mojo.
I've lost my mojo!
But yeah, it really felt like the Venom character, like you said, his relevance faded in the amount of hosts that it had over the years.
Big time.
There are the Agent Venom fans out there. Some people that really liked how sadistic and like maniacal the symbiote made Mac Gargan, but it never really felt right to readers, I'm gonna say.
No, definitely not. It just feels like we gave up on Eddie.
Well, the funny thing is that thematically, he gave up on himself too. That's where this run really picks up, because although we do finally get this reunion between Eddie Brock and the symbiote at the start of the run, it's very clear that Eddie still isn't happy with his place in the world, and even after 30 years in comic history, he still has yet to find himself.
Definitely. I just want to talk about like how much the visuals and Ryan Stegman's art influenced this run, because it was basically just like, how about we make Venom fucking cool again? Every page of Venom is like a fucking wallpaper.
So often, you know, with the Marvel universe, it is a shared universe, and sometimes the tones can kind of blend to create one cohesive feeling that you get from reading. Yeah. But with this book, it was so like dark and eerie, and there were shadows cast everywhere on the page, and it had really high contrast, and it just created this really uneasy feeling, especially like we said, thematically, Eddie is very lost in this world at the start of the story, but also it works so well tonally for all the crazy dark symbiote lore that we get.
So I feel like we gotta get to some of the lore drops that Cates just throws in our lap.
No, he's like Hulk handing us the taco.
I hate that you said that.
Sorry.
Cates created Knull.
God of the symbiotes, King in Black. He's just the god of darkness.
Darkness, yeah, and entropy.
Those flashbacks are some of my favorite parts of the story.
Yeah.
Where you get to see Knull forging the symbiotes.
And the Necro Sword as well.
And the Necro Sword, and forging them is what creates their fear of sound and fire.
Fire, yeah, that's fucking
That's
cool.
so cool.
It's really fucking cool. And that's where we get into one of my favorite little lore changes and retcons that Cates gives us. He tells us that Clintar is not the name of the symbiotes or the name of the planet. It's their word for cage.
Yeah, at that point in the story, it's revealed that Knull actually gets kind of a mutiny on his hands from the hands of the symbiote.
Yeah, he does get a mutiny.
And I like it because the symbiotes form a prison around Knull, entrapping him for like eons. But at the same time, it also gives kind of more personality and humanity to the symbiotes themselves.
Yes.
Which up until this point, we just thought it was like a mysterious alien black goo monster.
Yeah, and that they were all just like gross and like sadistic and like have sharp teeth and want to eat everything.
Exactly, but it gave them more depth, I'm gonna say.
Eddie is the world's biggest underdog. And that's what kind of makes you root for him in this run, because it's like, how are you gonna beat these insurmountable odds?
Throughout Venom's history, like we said, not just with the host, but when Eddie himself was Venom, even though he was the quote-unquote lethal protector, there were still moments when his villainy would come back out, and there was kind of this like constant seesaw-like motion between him being a hero of the universe and a villain to Spider-Man. And I feel like this run really, really solidified him, especially with his mission to like tackle Knull's incoming threat. It solidified him as a straight-up hero.
And I really love the things that it did for his and Spider-Man's relationship together. While it is hard to believe that Spider-Man would like reconcile with Venom after like all the heinous shit he's like put him through over the years, seeing Spidey acknowledge how far Eddie's come, offer to watch over his son while he's like fighting space gods and shit, it means something to me.
Yeah, and you even get to see moments of peace and clarity where they're just having a coffee together at like their local coffee shop.
Good shit.
And you mentioned Eddie's son, and that's a huge part of this run that we gotta talk about.
Fucking Dylan Brock.
Honestly, I just read the run and I'm still kind of confused what he actually is.
He has many nebulous powers. Whatever you want.
But outside of his cool abilities, there is another driving force here to really humanize and ground Eddie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he realizes, you know, after leading such a self-centered, selfish life, where it was just him and his other, now he has like a third thing that he actually has to protect and provide for and feed.
So basically, the realization that I just came to is that Donny Cates played God of War 2018 and really liked that story and was like, I'm gonna do Venom, but that.
And I'm gonna give Eddie a beard too. And so Dylan is a figure in this story that really gives a kind of maternal, paternal...
Well, paternal for Eddie and then maternal for the symbiote.
Yes. Feelings toward Dylan Brock because they both really want to protect him. And because Dylan Brock has like symbiote DNA within him, he is kind of the child of the symbiote and Eddie. You know, Eddie is in a universe with heroes like Iron Man and Spider-Man and Captain America who all pretty much make the right decisions.
Yes.
All the time. And I like it because they still made Eddie into a hero in this story, but they didn't make him perfect.
Yes.
He's a very imperfect one. Even at one point, sacrificing the potential loss of all life just so he can save Dylan Brock.
Very like Last of Us God of War coded.
Yeah, Daddy Brock.
Literally, yeah.
And the event all culminates in the King in Black story.
Yes.
After about 30 issues or so, I think, with Donny Cates' main Venom run.
Solid length.
Yeah, it was a very solid length. Pause. 19 inches of yeah, we both went there.
I knew it.
The King in Black event starts out, and already, like, all hope is lost in the universe.
Well, like, because Venom, this loser, has to fight God.
Knull, god of the symbiotes, rains down literally an army of, like, symbiote dragons on New York.
How do you feel about the dragons?
I don't like the dragons personally.
Oh, speaking of dragons, here's a retcon that I really don't like, is that Cates retcons the Venom logo to not be a evil perversion of like the spider logo. It's actually a dragon. It's depicting Knull's dragon.
I hate that.
Fuck that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That blows chunks. But he rains down symbiotes. Doesn't the whole planet get covered in symbiotes, basically?
At one point, yes, he encapsulates the whole planet in a cloud of symbiotes. And there's a part of the lore here that turns the tide, and that's when the Master of the Universe energy comes down.
The Unipower.
The Unipower.
Captain Universe.
Captain Universe, and it bonds with Eddie. Throughout the whole story, there's hints at what made Knull lose battles in the past, eons ago.
Yeah.
And the lore reveals that there's always opposites. There's always a yin to a yang. The Unipower isn't just a cosmic power like we thought it was all these years, you know, appearing in random issues to bond with Spider-Man, make it, you know, gives him the ability to do impossible things.
Yeah.
It is actually a symbiote too.
That's crazy.
It's the symbiote of light. And that's what Cates does so phenomenally in this run. Like you said, taking these things that in universe have already been established, but just adding more context to it, like the symbiotes with the fire and the sound.
Yeah.
And now the Unipower. I got tingles when it bonded with Eddie.
You got Peter tingles.
I got the Spidey tingle.
Eddie tingles.
Eddie tingle.
The uni power gives Venom a lot of extra power and like cosmic pull to be able to do some shit that he never would be able to.
A lot of juice.
Yeah, a lot of fucking sauce. So what he does is he takes both his hands and one of them pulls Silver Surfer's board and the other hand pulls fucking Mjolnir. We just have to accept that the uni power is worthy. Because fucking, I don't care, Eddie is still not worthy. There's no way. Animes them together and forms an axe. Eddie finally has this confidence in him that he hasn't had for like almost 30 years now.
And he totally saves the day, and it's like, how many heroes in the Marvel Universe can you say were once a character's greatest villain? Because up until that point, like, yeah, there are some fun moments when Iron Man bonds a symbiote with a Celestial and he takes control of it in typical like Iron Man techie fashion. There are cool moments like that, but overall, the heroes are getting their cheeks fucking clapped. And he comes in, he fucking daddies Knull, and he becomes the new King in Black.
Yes, we're getting kind of like a new status quo, or so we thought. Who's gonna be Venom on Earth? Dylan.
And he has those badass freaking chains.
The chains are pretty cool, yeah.
I'm on board for it because this is the arc that Venom fans have been waiting years to see.
Yeah.
Eddie finally step into the role of full-on becoming a responsible hero.
And immediately after, all of this is thrown away because a new writer, when they come in, they can't just like respect what came before and work on it. They have to just do their own fucking thing.
It's actually crazy to me that we have Mary Jane as the host of Venom just a few years after this run ended. Dylan was maybe Venom for like a year?
Maybe.
Now we got Mary Jane.
And Eddie's Carnage now.
But it doesn't take anything away from this run.
No, this run will always be there, and I think for a long time, it'll remain the best Venom has ever been.
Let us know what your thoughts are.
We do have a little announcement for you. Our YouTube membership / Patreon is up and running.
You guys can join for just $3 a month, get a 1 to 2 hour weekly podcast where we get to talk about all things comics, along with joining the Discord,
which has blown up. We have such an incredible community.
My totally biased take is that it is really a lot of fun, and you should trust me when I say that.
Agreed. And not only that, but you will also get early access to all of our main channel drops.
So guys, hit the link down below. Check out our Patreon for different options, or join on YouTube because we have both options open for you guys.
Whatever your preference is.
And we will see you in the Discord.
Drop a like on the video, really helps us out. Subscribe if you have not already. We love you.
We love you dearly.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.